Not gonna lie, this is one of the hardest videos I've tried to make. Hi there guys, it's me Firemoose here, and welcome back to Defining a Community, the series where I review every map in the Call of Duty Zombies franchise, and see what makes them good, or not so good. Last episode, we went over Verrückt, and how the addition of perks brought a much needed change into the Zombies formula. For today's episode, we'll be going over the map that is most controversial between members in the community, Shinonuma, and how it defined the community. Before we start, don't forget to like and subscribe, and to also share this video with others. It would be greatly appreciated. Now, what happened between the release of these two maps? Not much really. People liked Verrückt and what it added to the Zombies game mode. Treyarch continued making maps for World at War when they heard more praise for their innovative mode. They heard that Verrückt was deemed as a scary map, and they wanted to continue that theme. Within 3 months, they were able to create a map that many people deemed just as scary as the previous map. Shinonuma was released in DLC 2 of World at War in June of 2009. Shinonuma is a map that is split between the community. The setting was a great change from the previous map, but the gameplay really wasn't. Since many loved playing Verrückt, the release of Shinonuma didn't garner much attention from these players. I think that is the reason why this map is kind of forgettable, as its release didn't really shake anything up. I don't know really, because at the time I was playing Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2, where you can play as almost any possible Marvel character there is. You can play as Spider-Man, Iron Man, Hulk, Colossus, Ghost Rider, the Human Torch, Mr. Fantastic, anyone you want. Oh my god, I love this game. But going back onto topic, I do remember seeing my brother play a lot of this map after it came out and being amazed at the difference of aesthetic between the other maps. But I do feel that Treyarch also doesn't put a lot of attention on this map with the amount of references to it in the other games. It was a playable map in World at War in BO1, an easy to miss reference in Revelations in BO3, and a remaster in Zombies Chronicles. Another reason the map is rather forgettable is the story. Oh, who am I kidding? There really isn't one. From what I can find on the internet is that Dr. Edward Richthofen, a crazy German scientist, and his 3 test subjects, Tank Dempsey, a stubborn American Marine, Takeo Masaki, an honorable Imperial soldier, and Nikolai Belinsky, a drunk Red Army soldier, leave the Derice facility to go to the Rising Sun facility to retrieve Richthofen's diary. But when they get there, they find that the entire facility has fallen to the zombie horde. There are radios around the map, with only one really giving some context to the situation.
My name is Nikolai! Steel and flesh!
Out of all the World at War maps, Shinonuma has the least amount of story, even less than Nacht. What the map does have is a very interesting setting that stands out compared to any other map in the series. With Shinonuma, I think it is as scary as Verrückt with its setting. Like the other maps previous to it, Shinonuma takes parts of its map from multiplayer, but unlike the others, it adds its own original ideas to it, changing the format of those multiplayer maps. One of the first things you can see when spawning in is the hanging corpse of Peter McCain, solidifying what kind of place you're in just from the beginning. The switch from the concrete walls of Verrückt and the burning town surrounding it to a small wooden building in the middle of a swamp in Shinonuma creates another layer of uncertainty for the player. They could be familiar with parts of the map from multiplayer, but completely unaware of the new parts of the map. The swamps with the mud that slows you down as you walk through it and the green of the trees and plants create a nice, yet scary map. It's like walking into a strung out version of Shrek's swamp, and not in a good way.
What are you doing in my swamp?
Continuing the theme of colors from Nacht being all gray to Verrückt being all orange, Shinonuma is all green. The only touch of other colors is with the perk machines that cut through the greenness. Well, except for Sweet Cola. The eerie noises of the outdoors have the same effect on the player as the screaming does in Verrückt. There are radios sprinkled around the map that add story, but also scary sounds to the game.
Hellspawn!
The layout of the map is much more open than Verrückt, probably because it's mostly outside. The map is broken up into 5 different parts. The middle hub, where you spawn in and where the box is at the beginning, the comm room, the storage, the doctor's quarters, and the fishing hut. Each area has its own style and type of gameplay that allows players to adapt to each different area. Some areas have more mud than others, causing the area to look more dilapidated and worn out. While Verrückt looks lived in, Shi No Numa looks like zombies have been there for a long time. On the outside border of the storage room, you can see a meteorite that glows red, or blue in BO3, that can be only assumed to be element 115 that is mentioned in the radios. It could be something to do with the zombies, but at this point it's not important to the story. The setting added so much to the game and was so innovative that they needed gameplay features to match it. Shi No Numa kept most of the features that were added in Verrückt and added a few more things. They kept the 4 core perks, but made them a little bit more random. Every time you open a door in one of the 4 sections, the perks are randomized so that in one game you can get Juggernog on your first door, while in another, Jug is in one of the last doors you open. In solo, this could mean that Jug could be the very last perk you can get, just because of how many points you need to open up the map. This adds a new form of challenge to the game mode that was not seen in the other maps. When I asked my friend what made this map so challenging, he said that this was the first time where the map is trying to kill you instead of the zombies. And I said, "Really?" And he said, "Really?" And I said, "Can we just finish this joke already?" And he said, "Yes." Another challenging part is the mud. The mud slows you down to a crippling pace that you can't escape until you reach that area that's just outside of the mud. This can become a problem in certain parts of the map when you're just too far from a safe area and you can go down easily, especially because zombies can spawn in the mud too. This map also added a new trap. Even though it's just one, it's one of the most fun traps in the entire series. The Flogger is an interesting concept for a trap, and it's in one of the most important areas of the map. You can train zombies in one of the 4 different sections and then run them right through the Flogger so they can die instantly. Also, in each one of these sections, there's an electric trap in each building. There are also so many areas around the map that allows the player to train zombies, a big difference between the other maps where you mainly camp. I really hope that training becomes normal in the next zombies map and camping doesn't really become popular again. Oh god. If things get a little too dicey in the doctor's quarters, the new method of transportation, the zipline, gets you out nice and easy. I feel like this is the version of a gondola from Mob of the Dead, but just a little brother version. This is also one of the first maps that has zombies not spawning out of windows. The zombies could spawn out of bounds and run into the map, or spawn in the mud areas. This creates a new sense of fear and a new strategy of avoiding zombies throughout the map. When Verrückt added that the box can move when overused, they needed a way to keep track of where it was on such a large map. So, what did the developers do? They stuck a giant light on top of it to tell you exactly where it is. Talking about the box, there's a new wonder weapon in there to get you to high rounds. The Wunderwaffe DG2 is an electric gun that can kill an entire horde with ease. I mentioned it in my Verrückt video, but this is where it all came about. Killing multiple zombies with one shot. Another feature that was added are the dreaded hellhounds during specific rounds. The entire screen becomes foggy, and all you see are the flaming bodies of the dogs. They add a challenge with their high speeds and being low to the ground, but give a high reward by giving a max ammo at the end of that round. In World at War, these dogs are very tanky, taking up a bunch of bullets at a time. This map added a lot of features that are mainly map specific and give a unique experience. I really don't know where to put this section, but in the World at War version of Shi No Numa, there was a hard cap of 24 zombies that can spawn in at a time in a round. This causes each round to go by super quick, allowing you to go to high rounds easily. Theoretically, a round could be ended with only 2 Wunderwaffe shots. Also, when the zombies walk in World at War and BO1, they do this kind of like shuffle as they walk. I just think that's fun. There were a few slight changes when they adapted the map into the other games. In BO1, there was the usual addition of Black Ops guns and the addition of Mule Kick in the spawn, and they also changed the cap of the amount of zombies in the map per round. No real big changes at the time, but in BO3, there were a lot more changes. There was the usual shuffle of the guns, Wonder Fizz, Gobblegum, and the Ray Gun Mark II. They made the mud in some parts of the map even worse, making it super difficult to get out of the mud and survive. The big change was with the perk system and the randomizing of these perks. Rather than Mule Kick being in the spawn, Quick Revive is always in there in BO3. That means that if you open one of the doors to get a perk, you can get the big bastard himself weighing in at 2,000 pounds of pure garbage. It's Mule Kick! God, I hate him. No matter the iteration of the map, people have different viewpoints of it. There are multiple pros and cons of the map that split the community between if the map was good or not so good. On one hand, it was a very innovative map. They added a lot of features and allowed the player to have so much fun. There is no need to turn on the power to use all the fun things around the map. With multiple people, everyone can have a good sized area to train in without any problems running into the other players. But it's not a fair map for first time players. The mud can slow down players, making them feel helpless when they're trying to train. I feel that it can be too difficult to understand from just a single playthrough, and they need continued playtime to get comfortable. In the end, I feel like this map didn't get enough attention when it came out, or even now. I rarely hear somebody praise Shinonuma for its innovations in gameplay. I was one of those people. I hated the map and didn't want to play it at all, even though I never played it before. Playing it now, I take away some of those feelings of hatred of the map. It's good with what it adds and can be a fun experience. But compared to the other maps, I just don't have any incentive to continue playing the map. For this episode, I'm going to rate Shinonuma as a 5 out of 10. Probably closer to a 4 because of how some of the features never continued onward toward the other maps. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, subscribe and share this video with others. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.